The 2010 NASCAR season is here. The winter is over. It may be snowing, an epic snowstorm in the mid-Atlantic, but we have warm temperatures here, and the action on the track is going to heat up tomorrow night for the Budweiser Shootout. Trackside live in Daytona. Hershey's Milk and Milkshakes coverage from Daytona rolls on with our Friday night party. We like to call it Trackside.
I was jacked up, baby. That was a great opening.
Oh, you like that?
I like that, man. You were nailing it.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
we're back. Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, Steve Burns, and DW, Daryl Waltrip.
Thank you very much.
Whoa. Birthday boy, DW. Happy birthday, DW.
Yeah,
that's what our party's all about tonight.
I got
right.
It is. I got two cakes. One had 31 candles on it. One had 32. They couldn't get them all on one cake. But it's a good thing.
We sang happy birthday. The fans sang happy birthday.
Yeah, the fans. Look at the fans.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I don't get to celebrate my birthday out with all my fans very often.
Oh, speaking of fans, we need a little business to take care of because I was in an airport coming down for Fan Fest. A complete stranger walked up to me and said, "Hey, that Larry McReynolds is going to be hard to handle this year, isn't he?"
Yes, I am.
Oh,
As a matter of fact,
gosh.
I think I will be tough to handle because you know what? My boys put it to those Longhorns. How do you think?
Is that hat on backwards? How
It
do you
is.
know?
I can flip it around. It doesn't matter.
But Larry,
there's no right way.
I don't get it. I thought it was a Tide box.
Roll Tide.
Well, it is. I don't know that I know the concept, but I know there were a lot of these hats out there in Pasadena back on January the 7th.
Do you know Hammond?
No. Quick, get me my gun. I see an elephant I can shoot.
I don't know. That's a little odd looking, I got to say.
But listen, DW.
Speaking of odd,
Two things. One, happy birthday.
Oh,
Two,
gosh.
there's so many candles on here, the fire marshal won't even let me light it.
are you sure about that? Can you try?
Oh, gosh, don't do it. Don't
like-
do it.
I
You're just
don't have a good
blow out
feeling
that
about
one.
this.
Hey,
Blow out the lighter.
Hey, the thing is right now, dude, we don't have enough time to get all those candles lit in a 1 hour show.
Hey, keep your fingers out of my cake.
Your birthday's delicious. Happy birthday.
Look at
buddy.
there. I think they're all on there, too.
I think he did something nobody else has done before.
Nobody else has been able to do it.
I think there's somewhere a grocery store has no more candles.
I think there's somewhere that a fire marshal is nervous.
You light all that, they definitely will be. And you need to worry about it because around here that might look like a lighthouse, and a ship may land here in
Yeah,
Daytona.
we're right by the airport. It might think it's a beacon.
Exactly.
Burns, we're not even 5 minutes
No.
into this first show. You've
It's
totally
out
lost
of
control.
control.
I'm just enjoying the conversation. We're not nervous about this show, however, because Jack Roush is here. Saw him backstage just a minute ago, and hard-charging Brad Keselowski will join us as well. And let's catch him up on the current events. We had a little rain today that washed out the end of the first practice and canceled the second practice for the Daytona 500 qualifying
That's
tomorrow.
going to be very interesting because, you know, we have 36 qualifying sessions, but there's no question the one that everybody talks about that they put the effort into, if you sit on the pole, you get to enjoy it for a week as the pole for the Daytona 500. We've got 54 cars here. That means we've got 19 go or go home cars, so there's going to be a lot of people has hurt feelings next Thursday after the Gatorade Duel races. And for the most part, we had 8 cars that didn't even get a practice. But I like what NASCAR's doing. Even though we have qualifying tomorrow at 1 o'clock that will be on Fox, these 8 cars, they're going to give them a 1 hour practice session, and I like that. Every one of those cars right there are guys that will have to find speed. They're go or go home cars.
I hope this is sort of shades of things to come. If they're going to do that for practice for these guys, the next time we have qualifying rained out and we've got a few cars sitting on line, let them qualify the next morning.
In other words, if we didn't get all the way
We
through
didn't get them all the way through, instead of saying the field is set by points, that those guys, because Boy said, I know, would be a big fan of that.
Boy, wouldn't he, though?
A couple years ago, he would have sat on the pole.
He would have sat on pole. So
Interesting.
if they're going to, if that's what they're doing
If
for
they,
them,
they open that can right there, you'd like to continue it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Jeff, the Hendrick cars haven't missed a beat, it seems like. 1, 2, and 3 in that first practice. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was quickest.
Well, I think that the biggest thing is right now the 1, 2, 3 that they finished up with a year ago at Homestead, as strong as they were as far as the points were concerned, at least right now, guess what? Dale Jr. looks like he could be back. I mean, we've been talking about a different look. I think he's got a different attitude, and I'm glad to see that they came off the truck prepared to get the job done. And it could be like, you know, a little too early. We still got a lot of racing to do here at Daytona, but it's refreshing to feel like that he's come to Daytona with the idea I could win this race and being this strong at least early on.
the thing that kind of was interesting to me, Mark Martin said in the offseason he was really going to try to be a mentor to Dale Jr., to really help him and work him, help him get focused. I don't know if he feels that way now after practice or not, because Junior bumped him off the top of the pole there. So, but I'm glad to see Mark is taking an interest in Dale Jr. and that those teams are going to try to work closer together. They've reorganized a lot of people. I like what they're doing.
I like what they're doing also, Daryl. And the other thing is, too, Larry and Daryl, you can relate to this. Right now, Dale Jr., hopefully he's watching us here on Trackside. He's over there, got his feet kicked up saying, you know what? I kind of like the first day back at Daytona because he is the top of the list and everybody's talking about him. That's positive rather than negative.
Yeah, it's definitely positive, but we said it coming down here. This is not the measuring stick. The measuring stick will be California, Las Vegas, Atlanta, those type of tracks. That'll be the measuring stick.
You know what? Frankly, I don't care about California right now. I just want to win Daytona.
Yeah, well, and here's the other thing. An Earnhardt at this racetrack, should be at the top of the pole, right?
Exactly.
So, good job.
Are you going to wear your Alabama hat when Jack Roush is here?
Yeah, then I'll be a cat in a hat.
I like it.
I don't think I'd go that far, Larry.
Coming up, Jack Roush.
I wouldn't go there, Larry.
Trackside is brought to you by Hershey's Milk and Milkshakes. Try a new way to indulge in Hershey's. And by Toyota, moving forward.
Jack Roush has 116 wins at the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series level, a career that includes 2 Cup titles, 2 nationwide titles, and 1 in the Camping World Truck Series. And it's our privilege to welcome Jack Roush to Trackside Live.
Where is he? Oh, here he comes.
Sneaking up behind you.
Hey, DW.
Sit down right there, my friend.
Good, sir.
Pull up a chair.
Dave?
How
How
are
are
you,
you,
Jack?
buddy?
Good to see you, sir.
Guys, okay?
I
Yeah,
was,
doing better. Doing better.
was going to ask you to give me a hug, but then I thought maybe I better not do that.
That's what I'm saying. How you been, pal?
I've been doing good. I've been doing good.
Keep getting older and you keep looking younger. I don't know how you...
Well, it's I quit racing. If you quit racing, you'll start looking younger. It's hard on you, that racing stuff,
I
as you
see.
know.
You know, Jack, Steve mentioned it in your intro, 116 wins, and that's in Sprint Cup alone. That doesn't count the Nationwide Series wins or the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series wins, but I've got to believe 1 year ago right here with that 17 car, finally getting that Daytona 500 had to be so special to Jack Roush as well as Roush Fenway.
For 21 years, I had not been able to win that race, and it wasn't in my mind. It's all of a sudden, bang, Kenseth won the race. How did that happen? Of course, we had a really good year with all the super speedways. We won twice.
Yeah.
Could have won. Carl could have won at
Talladega.
He was definitely in position.
Yeah.
for a while.
If the start-finish line was in the right place, you'd have
Yeah.
been okay.
Yeah.
You can blame that one on old Bill for moving it way down there like that for that very reason. How is the development of the new engine doing? I know I read where you're going to run the old engines in all the preliminary races down here. or the new engine in the preliminaries. And then, are you going to run the 500, or is it still in development?
Well, I talked to Doug Yates, and I talked about the engine today. The biggest problem the new engine's got, the new FR9 Ford engine's got, is the fact that the Ford engine we've had for 3 decades is such a great engine.
Yeah.
We know so much about it. We're very comfortable with the durability of it. Occasionally get a bad valve spring batch or something, but the engine is doing a real nice job, the old engine is, but the new engine has got a number of the advantages that the other manufacturers have received, one after the other, and we're anxious to take advantage of those. We have made marginally more power, which has just come lately, on the new engine than we have the old engine. So if we have confidence based on the way things go through the Twin 150s on Thursday, if we have confidence that there's not some problem we hadn't expected, there'll be probably 3 of them in the 500.
Good.
If we have a problem, there won't be any.
Good.
Jack, we talked about 116 wins and the 5 championships in the top 3 series, but Greg Biffle last year, we did the show on Monday nights together, and he said, we are so close, but we're just a tick off, and we're not really sure how to put our finger on it. Do you feel, and this is such a momentum sport, do you feel like your teams are headed the right way?
Well, we think they're headed the right way. The whole world's ready to tell me how bad I should be frustrated over what happened last year. And the fact is, in 2008, we should have won the championship. Carl had his problem causing a wreck at Talladega. That was unfortunate. Then I had a problem at Charlotte with him. I lost 2 ignition system on the car almost simultaneously. And if either one of those things hadn't happened, he would have won the championship. And so we missed our chance to win in 2008. We were dominant on the 1.5 mile tracks. We were competitive on the speedways, competitive on the road race tracks, and not really competitive on the short tracks. But it was okay. 3 out of 4 is not bad. Last year, 2009, we weren't dominant on the 1.5 mile tracks. We were competitive. We were the best we'd ever been on restricted tracks. The road tracks were about where we were. We were competitive and could have won one or both those races if things had broken right for us. And of course, we were abominable on the short tracks. We missed it. But it wasn't because we hadn't engineered our way into what we thought were better cars. We built 18 new cars in the middle of the year based on the best advice we had from all the testing we'd done. And we just missed it. So we come back and took another look at our short track program. And we've taken another bite, a big bite at the 1.5 mile, what we think are the things we didn't step up to or didn't step forward with 1.5 mile. And we're just hoping that we can win Daytona again.
You can.
Well, I think we can.
You got good drivers. You got a great driver lineup.
Yeah.
We'll have more with Jack Roush when Trackside Live continues from the Daytona International Speedway. Thanks for spending part of your Friday night with us. More with Jack Roush a little bit later on. Brad Keselowski joins us here on Speed. Friday, February 12th, the trucks are back, and we're here in Daytona for the clashes, crashes, and high-banked excitement. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series season opener Friday, February 12th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed. It's the first Trackside of 2010. Glad to be back with you folks at home and with my buddies here on the stage, Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, and Daryl Waltrip. Privileged to be spending some time with Jack Roush here in Daytona.
Now, Jack, they've talked so much about your success here in the Sprint Cup, but let's go back and rewind the clock a little bit here. You've won, you start out really being a drag racer, Gap and Roush, and you developed companies from there. You had a lot of success when you jumped off into road racing. You've won the 24-hour race here, in that series. You decided to jump in here to the Sprint Cup. What drives you? I mean, what's the next big thing on the horizon for Jack Roush? I mean, are you getting ready to build a rocket ship and go to the moon or something?
No, a man needs to know his limitations, and I've definitely topped out on mine. I've spent some time this winter thinking about the path that I've been on and the journey that I've taken, and how did it work out for me? How did I wind up being so lucky? And when I started drag racing, I happened to fall into a group of Ford engineers that were doing a really nice job as amateurs racing.
Yeah, called the Fastbacks.
The Fastbacks. I learned from those guys. And so had great success, got my business started, and next thing you know, Ford decides they want me to go help them road race. Well, I wasn't thinking about what I was doing, but I found Bob Riley and Charlie Seelix and Gary Pratt, and those are guys that are well known in the road racing circles. Well, they were all from Detroit, and I knew about them, so I didn't take any of my drag racing buddies. I went and got these 3 guys that were destined for fame and fortune in road racing, got them with me. I learned from them, and guess what? We had a lot of success. when I got ready to go NASCAR racing in 1988, it was Steve Meal, Robin Pemberton, with advice from Bobby Labonte and Banjo Matthews. I didn't take any of my road racing buddies or any of my drag racing buddies. I got brand new friends that either had been there, or done that, or were going to go there and do that. And I managed to ride with them for a while. So I've been around really good people that at any point in time, at my point in time, were able to do what needed to be done, and I just rode with them. I've been really lucky to be in that kind of a situation.
Good timing.
Good timing.
Yeah.
You know, Jack, you talk about the road racing, and Daryl was talking to you about the new Ford engine. I read something a couple of weeks ago leading into the Rolex race that the Roush Yates engine program, all of Speed Week, starting with the Rolex cars all the way through Cup, ARCA trucks nationwide, you guys have 46 teams using Roush Yates engine during the 2 weeks of Speed Week. Not 46 engines, 46 teams using them.
Hey, and don't forget over at Volusia County too.
Yeah, that's just here at the big track.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a phenomenal number.
We've really had a great run. You know, Robert and I did not used to be the best friends. We're great friends now. We're past all that. We had.
I'm gonna give you a nugget. They have the same birthday.
We have the same birthday. I'm a year older than him, so he's got.
I wasn't even gonna mention that.
Yeah, I am 1 year, exactly 12 months older than Robert. But we didn't get along. We were competed like a lot of people that compete for space in the same arena. And one day, Atlanta, seems like it was 6 years ago, Robert tapped me on the shoulder. I was getting ready to move my engine operation to Detroit. There was a lot of Formula One influence that was coming into the NASCAR racing. It was focus coming into Charlotte. So I was going to move my race engine building operation to Charlotte. Robert had built a shop that was too big for him, and he'd heard that I was coming. And he says, you know, we need to put this stuff behind us and see if we can make some good business together. So he raised the question. He was a bigger man than me and tapped me on the shoulder and said, let's sit down and talk about this. And of course, the one thing that was pivotal for me was that I could get up to speed the next year by being in bed with him, and it was going to be a year of transition for me to get everything moved if I could get it right. So it wound up being an arrangement of convenience for me. It wound up giving Robert a chance to see more volume and more things for Doug to do as Doug thought about expanding his career and getting going. And of course, I'd always had great respect for Robert and great respect for Doug. But we put our programs together, and you know, Doug starts to scare me a little bit. You know, he's wanting to build pro stock engines now. He's been sprint car engines. I mean, that is definitely a young man's ambition that he's got, and
really
I'm just trying to hang on. You know, it's down the road we go.
You know, Jack, I reluctantly bring this subject up, but I would not be doing my job, I don't think, if I didn't. I read where you felt that the media had maybe been a little biased, or maybe hadn't been fair, or maybe too critical. I really don't know, and I wanted to actually talk to you about this before I talked to you tonight, but didn't get the opportunity. What were you thinking?
Well, you know, we all sit down and talked with Mike and with Brian and everybody and says, okay, what is going on in our business? We've been shooting ourselves in the foot. You know, there have been occasions, and they had a list of occasions, and I agreed with the positions they took on where we had been critical of ourselves, you know, by making a case out of things that were just part and parcel to our racing. You know, the new car, you know, there's a lot of criticism been made at one point in the new car. I was against the new car to start with. And
you wouldn't even build them.
I didn't want to build them. You know, I'm a nail straightener. I came from nothing. I had fast race cars that were competitive enough that I didn't need new race cars. And I just wanted to put better seats and do the safety things in my old cars. Well, NASCAR was adamant that we're going to have the new car and you're going to park the old cars, and that's the way it's going to be. So I resisted that for a while. But after we've gotten into it, it takes fewer new cars to do the job. The new cars are unquestionably safer. The racing, if you looked at how many passes we've got per race and how many different winners we've had per season and for the different races, you know, the new car is very competitive. It's done exactly what they want to do. It's safe, it's competitive, and it takes fewer cars. Now, the fact that the cars are more expensive is an unintended consequence of all the tightness to the specifications. But the new car was a good thing, and whether we race go-karts, bicycles, sprint cars, dirt cars, IROC type cars, or cars that run what you brung, you know, you're going to have exciting competition. And NASCAR has decided the better way to control it so it's safe for the fans, and so it's predictable for the sponsors and exciting and it's safe for the drivers, is to proceed with this new car. So the new car is a given. You know, the idea of somebody saying, I always think I could run with the old car rather than the new car, forget about it.
Yeah.
It's the new car has got so many things going for it, that's where we need to live. And, you know, the other thing that was on my mind is I don't watch a lot of baseball, although some with the Boston Red Sox now that I've got the affiliation with John Henry. But I watch the playoffs for basketball, hockey. You know, when it comes down to like our final 10 races, I watch that in all the series if I can. And it came to my attention, and I spoke to that I thought that the people who announce and communicate that with the other sports were more supportive of the sanctioning body and of the sport itself than some of us had been. And I'll say that than you have been some days.
Yeah.
But that's not saying that you don't have heart for what you're doing, and everybody at the table and everybody else that picks up a microphone hasn't had passion for what they do. But we need to make the most we can of the exciting dimension to the things we have going on, and not look at the things that would be negative, that would be possibly not absolutely agreed upon by everybody, just a point of view.
Yeah, I don't think any of us in this business, or whether we hold a microphone or a steering wheel or if we're a car owner, I think we all love this sport, and we all have our opinions, and we all see things differently. You want a Jack Roush advantage, and Rick Hendrick wants a Rick Hendrick. We all know that, and it's hard for me and Larry, any of us that have driven or been in this sport for a long time, not to buy into some of that. You know, we see it, we hear it, we know what it's like. Yeah, we've been there, you know.
And we all have our own prejudices.
Yeah.
We've got the fights we've had and the ones that we didn't finish the way we wanted to, and so sometimes we'd like to fight when we shouldn't.
But at the end of the day, I just want to tell you, at the end of the day, as a broadcaster and as a competitor, I have always had a tremendous amount of respect for your passion, for the amount of work, the way you go about your business, the way you get in there and get your hands dirty. I've always admired that about you. You're not one of those guys that sits back and watches.
I tell a
you're
Daryl
hands-on.
Can I tell a Daryl Wallop story in about 3 minutes here? You don't know where I'm going. He doesn't know where I'm going.
The next segment.
Next segment. I got a Daryl Wallop story.
You will tell it.
Hold that thought.
Don't forget it.
We love Daryl Waltrip stories.
On his birthday, too.
On his birthday.
I'll give you a piece of my cake.
More with Jack Roush coming up a little bit later. Brad Keselowski. Stay with us. Trackside Live back at the Daytona International Speedway. Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, Steve Burns, and Daryl Waltrip spending time with Jack Roush, who has promised a Daryl Waltrip story.
Should I leave?
No, you can sit right there. This is going to be fine. You know, when I got ready to come into NASCAR racing, I was 46 years old.
Whoa,
as
wow.
I came. So, you know, I was
46.
a late bloomer in that program. And so I called up Les Richter and said, you know, I'd like to come down and if you want to talk to me about what my goals are. And I had got somewhat of a reputation for being a racer and maybe sometimes a guy that would bend a rule here and there. We'd won more than our share of races, and there were some people that didn't like that. But so I thought I should come down and throw my hat in the door and see if they would accept me for what I was. So they says, yeah, come down to Rockingham. He says, we'll take you to a driver meeting. So Les Richter took me to the driver meeting at Rockingham in that little room. I remember how small it was. And so he says, you stand behind me and be quiet, he says. And so I'm looking around trying to see what's going on. And every time I looked around, Les Richter, who was a big monster of a man, as seen by me, I looked around, you were sitting right on the front row, and there was you were smiling, grinning ear to ear, saying, okay, here he comes. He's an outsider. He's a road racer. And finally, you couldn't stand it near the end. He says, come on in here. He says, we can't wait to get our hands on you. Come on down. It'll be all right.
Well, he won every road race. How many of those road races did you win here just alone?
Well, I am embarrassed to say that I won 10 24-hour races out of the 10 I entered. The last was with Paul Newman in 1997. But in addition to that, the thing that I hadn't really thought about, I won 4 other road races that were not 24 hours. So by the time I won my first, well, it took me 22 years to win my first Daytona 500. But in the meantime, I'd won 14 times with road race cars and just made it look almost easy. I couldn't believe I couldn't win it at Daytona.
That car that Paul Newman drove, is that when he was 70?
That was 70.
Yeah.
Nobody's fool.
So I got a chance, man.
Hey, if Jack
Again,
comes
Jack,
back in road racing.
he built me a car for the 24-hour race. I got a chance.
If you can get me funded correctly for what it takes to go get ready, we'll go do it, pal. I'll take a chance if you will.
There you go. All you got to do now is get Stevie to let you out of the house.
Over the hill, King.
Well, and to break out her checkbook.
Yeah.
Jack, what's your I guess your favorite challenge in this sport? Is it the technical side with the cars, the engineering? Is it the managing people, the calibrating yourself by winning races? What is it that is your favorite aspect of it?
My favorite aspect is working on carburetors or being on a creeper sliding around the bottom of the car. But I got all these young people around me that are faster with better hands than I have right now. And some of them got more education. Most of them do. And so now they don't let me get to the toolbox very often. But I wind up, my biggest challenge and my greatest satisfaction is finding somebody like David Reagan and bringing him along. Of course, Matt Kenseth came to us. Carl Edwards came a few years ago. We were able to bring him along. But I got Ricky Stenhouse and Colin Braun right now. I'm real excited about them. But behind that, there's, with our nationwide programs and with our truck programs that preceded that, we've got a farm club or a farm program for bringing mechanics along and bringing crew members along and engineers along. And to watch vicariously the success of those young people as they realize their dreams, and I'm able to transpose myself into my time when I was their age and what I was seeing. It's really amazing to be able to do that. It's like having, I enjoy my 4 grandkids now, but it's like having that many more kids around you that you can enjoy.
Just do as I say.
Well, there's some of that, but not as much as you might think.
More with Jack Roush. Don't forget, a little bit later, Brad Keselowski will join us. He's driving for Roger Penske. Trackside Live continues from the Daytona International Speedway. Stay with us. Looking for a stock car fantasy game? Log on to speedfantasyracing.com. Play in your own group or join the overall game for cash prizes. Registration begins Friday, February 5th. That's today. Speedfantasyracing.com. Log on and play.
Oh, Lordy.
Larry Mack is proudly wearing
They wanted me to show
Alabama
Jack my hat.
Jack, turn this around. It don't look as
Mine
bad as
looks
yours.
much different when you flip it around.
That ain't no cat in a hat right there, I can tell you.
That's
It's something in a hat, but I don't know what it is.
I do, but I can't say it on the air.
That's right.
Jack, headed into 2010, which has been known for 3 or 4 years, that Roush Fenway had to be shaved down to 4 teams for this season. But what I see, even though you've been shaved down 1 team, the Ford camp has grown with the addition of Richard Petty Motorsports, and you've got Casey Kane, Elliott Sadler, and as we well know, there seems to be sometimes strength in numbers. The Ford camp looks strong.
Well, Ford camp looks strong, and I felt a little bit exposed, or felt that Ford was exposed. If we've had a bad year and couldn't be productive, that maybe Ford wouldn't get what they wanted, and they would lose their interest in the sport. So that was really a responsibility that I was uncomfortable with sharing. But with Richard Petty Motorsports coming into the Ford camp, and with Front Row Motorsports, and of course with the Wood still running a short program, and with Borsed now and his group, there's a lot of energy in Fords. One of the things that's happened for us as we've gone from 5 teams to 4 teams. Mike Hilton and Brian have agreed to let us, not unlike what Rick Hendrick's doing with some of his customers and some of the teams he affiliates with, but we're building cars not for 5 teams, which we did last year, but we're building cars for 8 teams this year. We're building for the 4 teams Richard Petty Motorsports, and also for Boris. We built those cars, built the chassis, provide engineering to support them. So the economies of scale that we had that helped keep our costs down, we really haven't suffered from that. If there was a benefit from having information flowing from 5 into 1 pool that could be concentrated, now we've only got 4 really that focus that way, and so that might belay some concerns that are there. But we'll do as well with 4 teams and better hopefully than we did in 2009 with 4 teams than we did with 5.
Yeah.
Jack, right quick, Daryl, you may find this interesting. Jack used to teach school at one time. He was actually a school teacher. And the thing that I would want to know is that starting 2010, when you got all your teams together and gave them that final pep talk as we get ready to head off to 100 Daytona, what is the mission statement this year for Roush Fenway?
The first thing I said was, whatever Robbie Reiser's been telling you all winter, I swear to it. Because Robbie had committed to get us, really great cars that were lighter and were improved from what we had last year, and he's worked hard at that. He's set a schedule that's worked everybody their maximum. in the shop to get everything going. They worked the pit crew really hard. I know the 99 pit crew let us down a little bit last year, not because they weren't working hard and not because they didn't have the ability for it, because we got people hurt. So we're deeper in terms of our spare people. And so we did all that. So we recounted in preparation, recounted what all the efforts were, and we may come down here and find out that we don't have what we need. But I think we've got better cars in relation to the cars we had. Our 2010 cars are more improved from what we had in 2009 over 2008. That's the only thing I engage myself with. And of course, now everybody needs to relax and have fun at this. You know, this is supposed to be fun for the people. It's a job, and it's hard, and it's competitive, but we can't make it so intense that it's just not fun. And fun for the fans, fun for the drivers, and fun for everybody that works on the cars.
Yeah, you got some intense people that work around you, though. I mean,
oh yeah, the intensity is not something I need to light a fire.
Starts at the top, by the way.
Jack, thank you so much for spending time with us. It's a busy time in the season opener, but thank you so much. It was we appreciate it.
Have a great year.
All right, and thank you very much for that.
All right, yes, sir.
As Jack Roush exits, we'll go backstage to our man, Rutledge Wood.
Hey, thanks, Steve. You know, Jack was just talking about why this sport's so fun, and I've got something that's really fun for everybody. If you go to ToyotaRacing.com, starting next Friday, you can design your very own Cup car. Now, I'm going to work on it all week long. You can pick colors. They got all sorts of great pictures on there. You can even vote on your favorites, get your friends to vote on it. But I am going to design one for each of you guys. I'm going to make one for myself, and then we're going to show them next week and see who's better. But I think since I'm in charge, I would expect some bright colors. I know, Steve, your favorite color is pink. You just don't like to tell people. But the best part of it is that the winning paint scheme is going to be on a car during the All-Star race on speed. And I'm sure Larry knows that's like, what, 107? It's not that far. 106 days away. So the good news is
we don't talk about that till we get the Gatorade duel race.
Yeah,
Got to get the duels out of the way
Guys,
first.
I always think about the All-Star race, and I just can't say enough how much fun it is. It's at ToyotaRacing.com, and man, DW, I love celebrating your birthday.
Hey, is that Vegemite you're eating right there?
God, don't remind me.
Rutledge, let me get this straight. You're going to design our cars
Oh, yeah.
on the
You're all-
website. Do we get any input whatsoever?
My input to you is payback. You guys made fun of me for a whole year, and I can't wait to make fun of you in a whole weekend.
Put that down.
Oh, so good.
Oh, man.
Happy birthday.
Rutledge, the only thing I can tell you, mine better have the big A on the hood. That's all I can tell you.
I think I can pull some
Turned into
strings.
the Hat
You get to
Man.
make whatever you want. I'll
Like
do it
Bill,
for you.
hey, remember Bill Broderick?
Bill Broderick with the beard.
The next thing you're going to know, he's going to have Alabama underwear on.
How do you know he doesn't?
I don't want to know, though.
They're
Too much
boxers.
information.
They're
I'm just
boxers.
saying.
That is a fun promotion. We appreciate Toyota's support. Starting February 12th, you can go online to enter into the Toyota Racing's Sponsorify Your Ride contest, where you can design your very own Sprint Cup car. Locate the Sponsor Fire link at ToyotaRacing.com. Check out the contest rules. As Rut said, the grand prize winner will see their car come to life May 22nd at the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race. Brad Keselowski burst on the Sprint Cup scene last year with an upset win at Talladega. He also won 4 times in the Nationwide Series. This year, he'll be in the number 12 car for Penske Racing. And welcome Brad Keselowski to Trackside Live.
Partner, what are you doing up,
Man, that
partner?
shirt looks good on you.
I'm telling you, that jacket looks really good on you, too. I just want
Oh,
you to know
boy.
that.
Here we go.
They might hug.
Hooking up. All
Might
right.
hug.
How are you, young man?
That's right. That's
I've
right.
always wanted to say it to him. First race I ever ran, he came up to me and questioned whether or not I was old enough to drive or not.
I did.
First race.
But how old were you?
I was 19.
Were you 19?
Yep.
Well, you still look 19. So.
Yeah, but that was only a year ago.
And I want to tell you something. Already I noticed a big difference because last year, you worked for JR Motorsports
Yep.
and you had that kind of ratty look and you wore that little patch down
Ratty
here.
look, man,
yeah, well,
that's
a little ratty look down. And now look at you driving for the captain now.
You know what? We ought to give him a stand-up. He got on his dress slacks.
Let's see you.
He's matching tennis
Yeah,
shoes.
yeah.
And I mean, look here. I mean,
The captain. He doesn't. He don't mess around.
He
bro.
has
The
high
white button-down
expectations,
shirt.
so I got to make the boss happy, you know.
That's right. I love Roger Penske. He was always my hero.
you need to take the time. I was privileged to go over to Penske Racing a few weeks ago and do some stuff over there. And I'm telling you, I've been in a lot of race shops, but it is unbelievable how clean
is.
and well organized that whole establishment is. I mean, it's mind-boggling.
You remember Jeff when somebody came in our shop back in the '90s when we had a shop, and they walked around, they looked it over real close, and they walked back up to me and they said, "Buddy, this place is Penske clean." I said,
That's some
"Man,
pride, man.
this is right."
One of the coolest parts about the shop, just to carry that on, is the nationwide cars. For the brand new nationwide team, we're starting with 22 car discount tire, is right next to the IndyCar shop. So anybody I take to show my nationwide team, literally, we walk through the IndyCar shop and like, hey, there's the Indy 500 winning car from this year. And it's just this great motivational piece. It's just inspiring. And up above him is, pictures of all the wins that he's had at Indy 500. Mr. Penske, like 13, I think they told me.
14.
Just 14.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. You know better than I do.
No, I think
wasn't
it's
born
14.
for a
I
few
might
of
be
them.
wrong.
It's
But,
a bunch.
Incredible.
Yeah, you missed out on a few of them. I saw them all.
Just saying.
You them before your time.
Oh, yeah. There's a couple from like 73 and up there.
Yeah.
Which is cool because
And what year you?
I was in my prime.
Way before.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you know today is DW's birthday?
I've heard a couple times.
Hey, did you bring me anything?
I didn't. Maybe I should have brought my tires.
Dadgum. Can you got any cards or anything, discounts? I get a senior citizen discount, and I'm getting close.
To steal a Chris Myers line, he was born when the Dead Sea was just sick.
His social security number is 1.
Hey,
That's Dick Bergeron.
001.
I think you might ought to go to break.
I will. Boy, with Brad Keselowski, we're just getting started with him. Hope you're enjoying Trackside Live. First one of 2010. Glad you're with us. We'll be back to the Daytona International Speedway with Brad Keselowski. If you could be a star, Fast Track to Fame is the show for you. It's a new traveling talent variety show on Speed. Each week, real people just like you compete for a chance to win cash, prizes, fame, and glory. Our auditions are being held this Saturday in Burbank at Theater Banshee from 11 to 3. For more info, call 877-909-3883.
You know, Brad, you were talking yesterday during media day, and I loved one of your comments, and I hope you'll remember making this one.
Okay.
You said anytime that your competitors are happy and content with you, there's probably a reason that they're happy with you.
Yeah. Certainly, I feel that way. That's one of the things I've noticed. There's been a couple guys I raced against along the way that I haven't made happy, but they shouldn't be happy with you. If you're beating them,
There
they
you
shouldn't
go.
be happy. Just like I'm not happy with people that are beating me. So some of that resentment probably comes from that part, and I guess I hope I make a few more of them mad this year.
And you said the main people you want to make happy is your race team and yourself.
Yeah, race team, yourself, your fans, your sponsors, those are the ones you should be worried about.
Brad, we talked about that very thing at FanFest a few weeks ago, and I said, you'd been kind of controversial, and what I loved is you said, I'm not going to change my style.
Please don't.
Well, it's been
Please
working.
don't.
I'm here today. Roger Penske loved it. It's been working out for him. Made a few fans along the way. Certainly, there's been a few people. They're here today. Enjoy. They're out here
In the rain.
In the rain. So give them credit for that. They're pretty excited too. But it's been working out for me. So why change?
Good for you.
Brad, you jumped in that 12 car at the end of the last year, and you didn't have this stellar results. I mean, it wasn't like you jumped out of the 88 and got in that thing and took right off. What are you worried about? I mean, what do you think you need to make better to get that car up front?
Well, I think the most important thing is to show progress throughout the year. We need to get better as we go. We had a good run going at Phoenix, got caught up in a wreck. But Texas, I think we were okay, got caught up in a wreck there again. But Homestead, we didn't perform like we wanted to. So we know we need to be faster. That's the number one part to winning races. You got to be fast. So we're working on that really hard. We brought in key people, Jay Guy. Steve Addington came over for Kurt's crew chief, and we've already seen gains there. Team chemistry between the three teams is through the roof compared to where it was. So, the addition of some key people I think is going to be really, our focus this year and showing progress throughout the year with them.
I want to go back when you were talking about your attitude and everything like that, but your mother was quoted saying, if you allow people to run over you, you'll get eaten.
Yeah, my mom, she's a tough little girl. I'll tell her that. I probably got a little bit of that from her. My mom's not one to let herself be pushed around either, so I might have got a little bit there.
So that's something that she's kind of like, you need to take that to bed tonight, son?
No, I don't think she ever had to ask me or push me to be tough. It just, or to not put up with, that kind of stuff. But I think I got that from her. That was her side of the gene pool.
Did you fight with your brother, Brian?
Oh, all the time.
Fist fight?
All the time.
Fist fight?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was going to say with Bob, Brad, Brian, Kay had to be tough.
Oh, yeah. Wow, you ain't kidding. She's probably watching right now, nodding her head, yes. But,
I knew Bob, and Bob was, he wasn't no saint either, you might say.
And neither was his brother Ron.
and Ron wasn't either, and you didn't roll far from a tree, so I think you get it honest. There's been a lot of fire in that family.
A lot of fire, but it served us well, and hopefully it'll continue to go well as it has.
So let me ask you this: you got Sam Hornish as a teammate, and you got Kurt and yourself. It's kind of interesting to me that Jimmy Johnson didn't have any kind words for Sam in the media tour the other day.
I saw that.
It looks like there might be some. Looks like you boys might need to watch your back when you between Sam and you, and Kurt can get in a little bit of trouble too. So
as long as we're racing the competition and not each other, we can't go wrong. We need to look at it that way. We need to be racing as teammates. There's already 40 other cars to beat. We don't need to be racing each other, and we need to work together. And so far, Sam and Kurt have been really responsive to that and seem to be working together real well as a group. If we go out every week and finish the top 3 just by ourselves, it'd be good. So, that's kind of our focus. Everybody else, that's just the competition. We're not supposed to make them happy.
Yeah. So Kurt's the senior leader of your group.
Can you hang on just a
Oh, you got a problem?
Yeah, you just ran 2 stop signs.
We're going to run out of time to get our breaks.
Yeah. And I want to give a shout out to these people. I want to shout out to these people it is pouring down rain, and they have not left.
Awesome fans.
They are. Hey, tune into Race Day at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow. Join John Roberts, Kenny Wallace, Wendy Venturini, Hermie Sadler, and Kyle Petty as they preview the Bud Shootout tomorrow night on Fox. That's Race Day tomorrow at 6:30. More with Brad Keselowski coming up here on Speed.
Trackside is brought to you by Toyota, moving forward.
Next week on Trackside, our guests are Denny Hamlin and the defending Daytona 500 champion, Matt Kenseth. That's next Friday at 6:30.
Settle down. Hey, I got to control him, boys.
Hold it back.
Just when he mentioned Denny Hamlin, he jumped up out of his chair. Where is he?
Oh, you guys are terrible.
Hey,
man.
You about swept the Speed Performance Awards last night that I watched. You got the biggest upset from your win at Talladega, and then you and Denny shared the biggest rivalry of 2009.
That's pretty cool. I've never won a Speed Award and won 2 in one night, so thank you very much.
It's kind of nice that you and I are sitting over here because I think you're the only ones, me and you, the only 2 up here that's ever won a Speed Award.
Oh,
yeah, do you want us
really?
to talk about how come you won yours?
How did you win
Mr.
yours, Jeff
Oops.
Hammond? I'd like to hear.
Hooks. I mean, I do crazy things. This is yours from Talladega here coming off.
Was this was surprise finish? I think.
I think this is what it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it was to Carl anyhow.
Oh, that's terrible.
But Brad, what was his spotter? Was his spotter? I think he was reminding you not to go below that yellow line.
Yeah. Yep.
And when Carl moved on you, what did you think? Did you think?
Which time, when he moved up or down?
No, when he moved down, did you think, I'm going to
I thought,
get
man,
him?
Carl's not going to do this.
Yeah.
He's not going to do this. The move I made had really came, just to give you a little backstory, it came from here. I think we were practicing for the Nationwide race, and I'd pulled the same move on him in the Nationwide car, had an awesome car that could do it, and, just kind of studied the way he reacted to it. I thought, well, I know how he's going to react. And so when I got behind him, I was thinking, I know what he's going to do before he does it. And when I made the move in the Nationwide car, he came down, blocked me right to the yellow line, and then let up. So I thought, well, that's what he's going to do in the Cup car, but it didn't work out that way.
But you won the race.
Yeah, so I was surprised that he kept coming down. I wasn't ready for that, but I guess it worked out in the end for some of us.
It did.